Today we replaced the cracked dashboard on this 2002 Avalanche. You're looking at 20 years of sun that did a job on this dashboard, and as you'll see, it'll come out in pieces as we take the screws and bolts off. We found a decent one on eBay that's very close in color and has a few scratches in which we're not too worried about, since we will do a dash skin install on top of this used one, and it will also match the interior 100%. We begin by removing the cluster trim that's around the gauges, the radio, and two of the air vents. By lowering the steering wheel and lowering the shift handle all the way down, we'll give more room to lift the trim off after we unclip it all around. You can use a nylon trim tool if it's hard to get the space needed to get it started. Since it's cracked in a few places, we will replace it with a new one when we replace the radio. We'll need a larger opening anyway. Once the trim is removed, place the shifter in park and turn off the key. There's 6 Phillips screws and 5 bolts holding the top of this dashboard. Starting with the 2 screws at each side of the dashboard inside the fuse compartments. We'll do the passenger side first, and then the driver's side. The other 2 screws are inside the 2 passenger side vents, the air vents, that can easily be removed by prying the edges with nylon trim tools and slide them straight out. With both air vents out, we also have access to the back of this dash handle. Looking up towards the left of the opening, you'll see a white clip that needs to be pushed on each side to unlock them, while the handle is pulled out evenly. GM sure used very low quality plastic that year. They can't take the sun for long. We're very lucky to find a good used one, and we plan to protect it with a dash skin sold aftermarket, as I mentioned earlier. We will definitely show that installation on a future video. An important thing to note is this rectangular pad here. This is a passenger side airbag. You don't want to mess with it unless you know what you're doing. Next, we're taking down the post trim panels by slowly pulling from one side to unclip it. The clip stays in the hole sometimes instead of staying on the post, but it can be pulled out and put back on the post when we're ready to clip it back on. While we're at it, we check on the wires, and since we have a sunroof, we check the drain hose going down to the bottom exterior of the vehicle, just to make sure they're not pulled or ripped or anything. We do the same to the driver's side. Now we can start removing the 5 7mm bolts that are on the driver's side only. Here we're taking off the top and bottom bolts only. The middle is for the vent that has nothing to do with the dashboard. If this dashboard was intact, we would be slowly lifting and sliding it away from the windshield, and would have made sure the daytime-nighttime sensor and the climate control sensor were unscrewed from the dashboard first before completely removing it. Instead, we take it apart piece by piece. In my hand is one of the 6 sliding brackets that were attached to the old dashboard but broke off. They slide into its female partner that's fixed to the firewall here. They were all broken off the old dashboard, of course. We're lucky the used dashboard we purchased came with them, installed, as we'll soon show. You can see the broken tabs from the old dashboard still stuck in this slider bracket. So we made sure they're all off. Before installing the new dashboard, we slide out the radio to have better access while installing the dashboard. You'll see what I mean. And here's the clips that came with the used dashboard. You can tell these are not supposed to come apart. So as we've seen earlier, this vehicle has two sensors, a daytime nighttime sensor and a climate control sensor. But this dashboard came only with one sensor hole. We noticed the other side of this vent has a spot where we can drill the second hole. So we drill a small pilot hole first and keep using the next size bigger until we get to the actual size needed. This will make it easier and prevent it from cracking the dashboard. We'll end up using a total of 5 bits before we get to the actual size hole that fits the sensor. And this is the last size drill bit to finish the hole. Clean up the slack on the other side of the dashboard and make sure the cap from the sensor fits. And now we can finally install it. First thing is to get the two sensors through the holes and lock them in. Just lay the dashboard down positioned a few inches away from the slide brackets. Looking in through the radio compartment opening, you can see the sensors really well. With a little patience, grab each one and twist them into the hole. We're now ready to line it up and slide the front of the dashboard into the brackets. Careful not to tear the sponge seals on both sides of the air vents as the dashboard slides in. We have it about halfway into the brackets that we showed earlier. But before we push it in all the way, we need to align all the pegs into the holes on the front of the dashboard. There's some every 10 inches or so. You can feel them. Just align them to the hole, but don't allow them to insert until the dashboard is pushed into the front slider brackets. Once they're aligned, just push the dashboard towards the windshield. This will lock all 6 brackets into the stationary front brackets. All the pegs are now into the dashboard. We make sure all the bolt and screw holes are aligned before we start putting them back on. Six Phillips screws. 2 go on each side of the dashboard and 1 each on the passenger side air vents. The 5 6mm bolts go on the passenger side around the cluster. We tighten all the screws and then we tighten all the bolts. To install the handle back on, evenly slide the rods into the holes and push in until you hear the click on each side. Then pull on it just to make sure it's locked. And we're all set with that. Put back the fuse box cover. Carefully insert the vents. Keeping in mind the sponge seal has to be inserted into the duct inside the dashboard without ripping the seal. So if you feel any resistance, move it around until it easily inserts. Before reinserting the post trim, make sure the clip is in place. There's only one towards the top. Also make sure there's some padding still glued on the inside. These prevent it from rattling when driving on rough roads. There's also some padding on the bottom tip that inserts between the dashboard and the window post. This prevents that annoying squeak when it vibrates and rubs on the dashboard and the post. After inserting the bottom, line up the clip with the hole on the metal post. And make sure the wire and roof drain hose are tucked inside the trim before pushing the clip in. Do the same to the driver's side. This one requires a little more patience to insert the bottom between the dashboard and the steel post. If some prying is needed, it's a good idea to use a nylon pry bar tool not to scratch the trim and dashboard. At this stage, we will put the new radio in, but it's on order along with the new trim that has a different size radio opening. So we just put back the old trim for now. And as I mentioned earlier, to preserve this one, we will do a dash skin install on top of it. There is a link in the description for more details, and we'll show it in a future video. These are great if you have a few small cracks or scratches. In our case, we want to not only protect it from cracking in the future, but the color will be the exact match with the rest of the original interior. And that's about it. Thank you for watching. I hope this video helped you along the way. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments. See the description for links of tools and materials used in this video. And you all have a great day.